Hey, hi friends. This is a quick short video. We'll talk about the important concept of value area and using value for deciding a trade decision making. This is something that I use as one of my core concepts in my own trading and sort of aligns with auction market theory also. So if you're using both either volume profile or market profile, this is an interesting thing to use. Generally, what is a value area? Value area is the 70% traded volume, or in case of volume profile, or in case of market profile, it's the 70% traded time. That's all. Okay. Now, most softwares, like I'm using Go Charting here, essentially have a way to sort of demarcate 70 and non 70%. So this range, if you see, is called as the, if you see this range is called as the value area. The upper region is called as the value area high, and the lower region is called as the value area low. So outside value area high and value area low. Okay, these are the two things that we watch for. So, what is the trend that we look for? Essentially, one of the easiest way to find a trend change, like it happened, let's say yesterday or day before yesterday, is to see if price is within or outside the value area from the previous session. Okay, so now yesterday it opened gap down way outside, so once it failed to enter the value area, we expect a trend continuation. Similarly, yesterday, this was, if you see, this was the value area high, value area low of the previous session. So I'm referencing the previous session. Now once price opened up, expectation is to come back and go inside for trend continuation. If it doesn't, then expectation is to go up. So if you see, even the low was made around the value area high and also the morning lows, and then it pulled up. Similar thing can be applied for the next session and going forward as well. So this is how you use kind of concept of value area for making a quick trade decision. So you're not waiting for some indicator to turn around and etc. Okay. Now if you're using something like Go Charting, you have couple of ways of deciding the value area. One is, of course, your let's say the daily profiles, which is something like this formed on everyday charts. Okay, then there is something called as the visible range profile, which is all the data that is there in the chart. So for example, this is my visible range, it plots there. Okay, so visible range becomes a little subjective sometimes, because if I squeeze in more data, the profile will change. So you use it with your discretion. The other is typically a fixed range profile, which I'm using if markets are consolidating in a certain range for a certain period of time, then I'll tend to use that as well. Okay. So, so now the good part is this same concept applies across time frame. So as they say, markets are fractal. So what it essentially means is the same nature of concepts. Value area will apply on weekly, daily, monthly, all time frames combined. Okay. So now if you see what has happened, if you see the charts and if you see we have gapped down below this region. Okay. We had this consolidation. We have this consolidation. So these were the sort of the previous lows, etc. We have gapped down below this region, and now we've tried to scale back to the top of that gap down range. If you move it to a 4 hour chart, what Go Charting does is typically it will plot you the weekly profiles. So if you, weekly profile will give you a very clear view. If you see prices were sort of in this in range in this weekly profile, which is, that's why we have the strong fat value area. Now we have gapped down. Now the thing is that our levels are 17,000 areas, 950 is scaled to 950. So once we are able to hold anything above 950, 17k, we move into back into this value area. Then the expectation will be to rotate back to the VPOC 300 and higher also. Okay, in case not, we kind of look to roll back lower in and form a new value area range as well. Okay, that's how we'll trade. We'll kind of trade this session. Yes, and I think that is also plan that we can use for, let's say, our trading session for today as well, where we look for 900, 950 areas as a resistance, and anything, if you're not able to cross 950, 17k, we look for a short side trade, which is typically this range. Okay, so let's see. Okay. And the other part is, always I'm trying to use in the cumulative delta figures as well to kind of determine the strength of a strength move. For example, if you see that delta move yesterday was continuously sliding down, and at the same time today it was going up, but then it turned a bit. But generally, it called for a, especially if you see the opening moves, it was clear that it was trying to hold above the value area high, and probably a move higher is expected. Okay. Now, let's look at Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty again, same concept. If you see yesterday's, day before yesterday's value area highs was roughly about this range, and if you see the opening low pushback was to the value area high, and then markets moved higher. Okay, and then when it failed, it also moved to the almost to the VPOC of the previous session essentially. Okay, so now it is pulled back and just held around previous day's value area high. If you see the 2 days composite now value range is kind of this one. Okay, so we have to see how markets react today in terms of these ranges. If you see today's key value range is this. Okay, so we would what our expectation would be to see if markets can hold into this value range, then sort of move to the higher side of this value range, which is this. Okay, any hold above this, we look for a upside move, and we look to see a resistance at VPOC, let's say, for a roll down and test into the cumulative VPOC from these two sessions. Okay, so long story short, 450, 500 being your support zones, and 950, 935K being your resistance zones. Okay, we look to trade pullback within these ranges as essentially short the highs, long the lows. If it holds any break outside this, we'll look to play a breakout play. Okay. Today, my expectation is, because we had two wild moves, my expectation is we can look to consolidate to, sort of build a view whether now consolidation is on the upside, then the possibility and upside remains in the coming sessions. If the consolidation continues to be on the lower side, then the possibility of a further down move, remains open. Okay. That's all, guys. Hope you like this and try to use this across time frames. Use this, concepts. Okay. What you will get is you can use the same thing for both market profile and volume profile. Where will you find these indicators? If you go to your indicators tab, you see, this thing order flow. You have market profile, you have volume profile. You also have the tick profiles, which is nothing but more accurate data points. So if you're using smaller time frames, can use this. If you're going for higher time frames like daily or higher, can use the normal ones, non-tick profiles. Okay, so if you're using market profile, you'll get the TPO. If you're using volume profile, you get the volume profile charts. Okay, please use these indicators. It's extremely good. So it's completely adds a new dimension on top of your price to understand which places the prices are important. Thank you, guys. Have a good day.